Hi, I'm Scott, and today I'd like to take a few moments to talk about homelessness. As of 2023, over 500,000 Americans are homeless in this country. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I've talked about my belief that everyone should have at least the basic standard of living met, whether that's through their own volition or through their own costs or that of society. Everyone should have simple things like a roof over their head and a bed to sleep in at night and food at a table. 500,000 Americans in the richest country on the face of the earth. And a lot of this comes down to a myriad of issues. I've written down a whole page of different things. In some cases, it could be a reason that a person would become homeless, could be because of dire straits, finances, or one too many medical bills, or a couple of missed payments on a mortgage, or a loss of a job and they can't pay their rent. I don't think most people realize that this could happen to most of us at any time. Situations arise that could put anyone into a similar position. Most Americans don't have $40,000 saved. Most Americans don't have enough to cover $500 for an emergency. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and that says a lot about society, and I think that needs to change. But the problem is a lot more pervasive and entrenched and structural, at least in a country like the United States of America. And the problem with that, in addition to greed, housing is just too expensive for most of us, it comes down to issues like sustainability and land use and a whole myriad of issues that I'd like to discuss if you're willing to watch with me. We need more affordable housing. There just isn't enough stock of housing for everybody, unless people live 10 to 20 people in a home. The governments, federal, state, local, municipal, should be doing everything within their power to make sure there's enough housing stock for everyone. And a perfect example of one municipality that is working on this goal to some very good success is the city of Houston. I'll put a link below that talks about that. But it's more than that. It's more than public and private partnerships. It's more than just a government solution. We're part of the problem. I'm sure you've heard the term NIMBY, not in my own backyard. And the idea that we don't want certain things to happen because it might lower our property values. Again, it comes down to greed, but we're the initiators of that greed. We're the ones causing the issue. We're more interested in our retirement and our investment of our home, if we indeed own one. And more Americans nowadays don't. The interest rates are too high. The price of a property is too high. There isn't enough affordable housing in America. And at least in our urban environment, there isn't enough homes available within a moderately salaried individual's price range to be able to purchase one. The homes are just too expensive for the modern American. But yet, we still give nonprofits such as hospitals and other entities tax-free status so that their land isn't bringing anything to the table, isn't bringing anything to the municipality as far as the tax base. That's an issue. The not in my backyard is an issue. And something that you may not have thought about, flipping homes, that's an issue. If I want to buy a crappy home, I should be able to do that. In America, that's becoming harder and harder to, because people who have the means are purchasing these places, fixing them up, and charging a buttload more money for it. And it just makes these places even harder and out of reach for the modern American. And if you are one of these people who are flipping homes, I apologize if I've offended you, but that's just the way I see it. But I'm not even talking about the individuals or, group of friends who are doing this. I'm talking about the investment companies and the developers who are doing this. I'm talking about foreign investors who are purchasing land in America to make it harder for Americans to purchase their own homes. Why, on God's green earth, are we allowing this to happen? And I'm not saying that immigration is bad. This has nothing to do with immigration. I'm not saying that if a person wants to move to America and buy a home, they should certainly be able to do that. I'm saying that they should not be able to purchase multiple homes for investment purposes if they're not actually citizens of the United States and living here. Zoning needs to change in America. There needs to be more mixed zoning, and we need to get away from things like as many single-family homes. And there's nothing wrong if you want or own a single-family home. I'm just saying that there are better alternatives out there to solve the housing shortage, the homeless issues, and affordable housing if we built more condos or more apartment complexes and had them in neighborhoods where people could live and work and go to the grocery store and see their doctor and go and have a cup of coffee at the cafe or at their pub or movie theater or whatever. We need these types of environments, whether it's in a small town or a big metropolis. And if we have things like Skid Row or a homeless encampment, if we have the land for that, why don't we just build homes for these people? Whether it's a dormitory style or whatever, we need to do this. And we need to do this now. Our population is only growing. We're one of the only countries in the world with a growing population. A lot of Europe is losing population as they age. There just aren't enough young people taking the place of the older people who are passing away, unfortunately. And if we don't get around this problem now, it's only going to be worse. Thank you for watching. Take care.